Hello, it's Brent Schroeder Leverage Lane, and today is Monday, which means it's Macro Monday, and I can't think of a better way to start out your week than being more efficient and effective on your computer. And the best way to do that is use our latest macro. What kind of macro we posted this morning? Let me show you. Alright, this is the macro we're dropping this morning. This is an Excel macro. Create emails with workbooks attached. If you work with multiple clients, you may be assigned a task of separating data and sending specific information to specific clients. Now, to complete this task, you could filter data out of Excel, you then could create separate workbooks, then open all these new emails, fill in the appropriate recipients, email subject, email body, finally ensuring that you attach the appropriate workbook for the right client because you don't want to send the wrong information to the wrong person. But this process takes a lot of time and it leaves a lot of room for error. Let's avoid making mistakes. Let's use VBA because VBA gives you a way to automatically create Outlook emails out of Excel. And then you can pull in workbooks specifically based on the worksheet name. And in those generated emails, we can populate the appropriate recipients, the subject line, the email body, and automate all of that busy work so you don't have to do that. It's a great way to standardize this process and avoid making those mistakes. And I also have additional Excel macros, create worksheet per filter value, and turn worksheets into workbooks. When used together, can automate this entire process. Alright, if you've yet to see this macro in action, go ahead and check out our See It in Action video here. And if I continue to work my way down the page here is the code that is going to do this work for us. Now before I jump into the code, I do want to show you the first time using VBA section here and the 3 steps you need to complete. Activate the developer tab, update your macro security, and set up references for leverage and lean macros. And the good news is this takes no time at all. Let me show you how to do this in Excel. Alright, when you're in Excel, go ahead and navigate up to the Customize Quick Access toolbar, drop down to More Commands, and then within the Excel options pop-up, go to Customize ribbon. Then navigating over to this main tab section, if you scroll down, you'll see the Developer tab is uncheckmarked. Go ahead and checkmark that and click OK. And then navigating up to the Developer tab, head over to Macro Security. And then within Macro Security, you'll see that currently all macros are disabled without a notification. Go ahead and enable all of them. This is not recommended because potentially dangerous code could run, but I'm going to show you in this video each line of code and walk through it step by step so you know exactly what this VBA code is doing. Never blindly put in code that you don't know what it's going to do and run it. Alright, and then we'll jump into Visual Basic. Within Visual Basic, head over to Tools and click References. Now these are the only 2 references you need for this macro, so they should be set by default. You can go ahead and click OK. Okay, so what we're going to do is paste in the code for this macro. Let's go ahead and create a module with this black drop down, select module. We now have module 1, and if I navigate back to the web page, I can go ahead and copy all of this code simply by double clicking between the code line and the physical code itself, selecting all of this and then copying and pasting into module 1. Alright, this macro is ready to run, but I do want to show you the workbook we will be running this macro in. You can see here in this workbook there are multiple worksheets with names, marketing, sales, IT, etc. And then in the folder path where this workbook is saved, there are all of these worksheets saved as separate workbooks in this folder path. Now what this macro does, it looks for a workbook name that matches a worksheet name and then uses that match as a reason to create an email and then attach that workbook as an email attachment. Alright, let's go ahead and walk through this macro. Now we have some context behind it, and I can go ahead and click F8 to start to walk through this macro. So the first thing we're going to do is get to the folder path. The folder path by default is the same path of the Active Workbook. You can update this to a different path if you're saving attachments elsewhere. The next thing we're going to do is get to the worksheets count. By default, we're going to skip the first worksheet because the thought behind that is probably where you're separating your data into that client specific information. If you do need to update this, simply change 2 to a 1. And then within the folder, we're going to look at each file and then look at the file name that we're currently selected and then compare it to the worksheet name. If there is a match, we will then move on. Then once we get our first match, we're then going to use the worksheet name to potentially identify the appropriate recipients to pull into that generated email. You can see for the marketing sheet, you can then simply put in the recipients field the emails that you want to pull into that specific email. You can also update this so CC recipients are also included by simply making this code line no longer a comment and then putting in an email here. Now, if you do update the CC recipients, make sure at the bottom here in this segment where the email is being generated that you will also remove this as a comment as well, because that is looking to the variable CC recipients, and if this is still a comment, nothing will happen. Now this segment of code here is great because you can simply update the worksheet names, marketing, sales, IT, HR, to worksheet names that you care about, and then pull in those email recipients simply by updating those variables, recipients and CC recipients. So then as we continue to work our way down, we've identified a recipient for the marketing worksheet and an email that is going to be generated. And this is where the email gets generated. It's going to then create a new item, pull in the recipient, subject, and then the email body here. These two fields, the subject and email body, you can update the text within that and then add in the email attachment here and then display the email and then move on to the next file. So you can see the concept here. Once a file name matches a worksheet name, the email gets generated. So I'll go ahead and run this macro and show you what happens when we loop through all of those worksheet names. And you can see once this macro is done running, we now have a bunch of emails that have been generated with these attachments indicated in them. And I will show you in that marketing one, our first worksheet name that we matched and generated an email, it also pulled in the email recipient that I indicated in that segment of code. You can see in the subject field, I pulled in some text also indicating the worksheet name if it helps identify who you're sending the email to, and then in the email body saying, hello marketing, and then can you please review this attached worksheet. Really easy to update in the physical code itself. Just to show you again, in this section here, you can update the subject that is pulled in, and then in this segment here you can update the email body. And the final thing I'll show you here is there is the opportunity to send this email. Right now we are displaying it, so then you have one final chance to do a spot check before you click send. But if you actually feel comfortable enough with the way these emails are generated and you want to automatically send, you can simply remove this comment and then send it. All right, another thing I absolutely love to do with macros that I create is create a custom button to fire them on command. So let me show you how to do that. You can navigate again up to Customize Quick Access Toolbar, go to More Commands, and then within More Commands, click Customize Ribbon. What I like to do is create a custom tab for my macros. So let's go ahead and create a new tab. And then looking at the new tab name, you can simply update that to say macros, and then click OK. And then the custom group, you can name this. I like to clear the name, but feel free to enter in anything you want here. And then with the custom group selected, go ahead and drop down popular commands, click macros, and then you can pull in the create emails with workbooks attached over into that custom group, and then we can update the name and the layout of the name, and then select an icon that you want to display for this. So you'll see we now have a custom macros tab and then a custom create emails with workbooks attached button, so you can quickly call this macro when you need it. All right, back on the web page, if you just scroll down, I do have this customize section to kind of go over some of those code lines that are customizable and you can personalize for your own needs. The folder path can be updated so you can indicate a different path where you have those email attachments. Just keep in mind they have to match the worksheet name. And then you can update how many worksheets you're looping through. I do skip that first worksheet. You can change the 2 to a 1 to pull that one in as well. And then within that segment of code for the recipients and CC recipients, update the email addresses that you need specifically based on the worksheet. For the CC recipients, make sure you also navigate down to where the email is being generated and make sure that is not a comment, because it won't matter if you indicate CC recipients. You need to allow the email to pull it in. And then also dealing with the email, you can update the subject text that's pulling in. You can update the email body, the message you want to put in there. And then finally, if you want to automatically send the emails, you feel comfortable and are 100% confident with the way they're being generated, you can automatically send them just by running this macro and updating that code line, send from a comment to actual code. All right, well, that is all that I have for this new macro, Excel create emails with workbooks attached. I absolutely want to know what you think of this one. Thank you so much for watching. Stay awesome. Thank you so much for taking time to view this video. I really do appreciate it. If you want to start using the macro you've seen in this video, I have a link in the description. If you could do me another big favor, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, stay updated on any new videos that I'm posting. Like us, follow us on all of our other social media channels, and as always, stay awesome.